Dustin. So on the topic of estate planning, can you tell us how that differs from regular individuals to business owners?
Well, for business owners, there are a lot of other things that we need to take into consideration. And some of the problems that we're trying to avoid or problems that we're trying to solve, you really cannot accomplish through just a basic will or power of attorney. There are some additional documents that you really need to have as a business owner that make up a business succession plan.
What is a business succession plan?
I think of this as two different types of succession plans. There's the emergency succession plan, which is what happens to my business if I die.
Okay.
And then there's a retirement succession plan, which is what do I want to happen to my business as I age and what is my exit strategy?
Tell me more about an emergency succession plan.
An emergency succession plan for a business owner is addressing scenarios like what happens if the business owner dies?
Okay.
What happens if the business owner becomes disabled, either temporarily or permanently?
Okay.
Or what if the business owner is just unavailable? Could be something as simple as they're taking a long trip overseas, or maybe they, for medical reasons or other family reasons, have to take a break from the business for an extended period of time.
Okay. Do you recommend these type of succession plans for all businesses?
Really, anybody that has a business needs to be thinking about these things. Depending on the size and the degree of the management team that's built out, those succession plans are going to look a lot differently. Most of the time, I'm advising people who are maybe the sole owner, or it could be a mom and pop, or a husband and wife, or maybe 2 or 3 partners, and they really don't have a management team that is used to handling the day-to-day operations in the absence of the owner.
Sure.
These are typically smaller companies where the owners are wearing a lot of hats.
Okay.
And when the owner is not present, somebody's got to do those things. So some examples are, who's going to pay the employees if the owner is sick or dies or is otherwise unavailable? Generally, owners of small companies are controlling the checkbook. So who can sign checks? How do the vendors get paid? Really, if you think of all the different decisions that you make as a business owner, the succession plan is designed to ask who is going to do that in your absence, and not only to make sure that the business can survive if
Right.
you die or you're unavailable, but really our goal also is to preserve the value of the business for the family, for your spouse, for your children, so that if you become sick or you die, your business doesn't just vanish overnight.
Sure. So what would you recommend business owners start thinking about first to get this into place?
When I start to advise clients on emergency succession plans, really the first thing I encourage them to do is identify a key employee within the organization that they can trust. So similar to when you're advising an individual about a financial power of attorney or who's the executor going to be in their will, generally these are going to be friends or relatives, somebody that they can trust.
Right.
In the business setting, it's a little more challenging because your spouse probably knows nothing about your business.
Sure.
Your best friend or your brother or your parents or your oldest child probably knows nothing about how to run your business. And so we start by identifying, is there a key employee within the organization that, if they had to, could step up to the plate and could make those decisions on behalf of the owner or owners if there's some temporary absence.
What are some tools you recommend to accomplish those goals for the business owners to get that in place?
Well, once they've identified a key employee that they think they can trust, then we start to talk about a combination of business resolutions and powers of attorney. So if you have a corporation or an LLC, you can adopt a resolution, which essentially says, under certain circumstances, this person has signature authority over the bank account, for example.
Okay.
Or under certain circumstances, this person has decision-making authority over employees or other HR-related issues, or even signature authority to sign contracts or things like that. In tandem with that, we also recommend that they have a power of attorney.
Okay.
And the power of attorney is really sort of a belt and suspenders approach. The types of powers of attorney that I recommend for these emergency succession plans are limited and springing.
Okay.
So a typical power of attorney is going to be broad, where I might say my wife has the power to do anything and everything in my financial world if I am unavailable. Well, these types of power of attorneys that we use for businesses are limited in scope, which means I'm going to identify a key employee who can do certain things, not everything, but they can do certain things on my behalf as the sole owner of the company. And that might, again, be payroll, signing documents, signing checks, things of that nature.
Okay.
I also recommend that these powers of attorney be springing. And
Okay.
a springing power of attorney means it only becomes in effect when certain triggering events occur.
Okay.
So the classic example is if I'm a business owner and I am in a coma, then this special type of power of attorney comes to life, and now my key employee has the authority to make certain decisions. Once I come out of that coma, hopefully, then that power of attorney is no longer effective.
Okay.
And so then you can use this in broader ways. It could be as simple as if I'm just unavailable, if I'm traveling out of the country, then this power of attorney springs to life, becomes effective. My key employee can do certain things in my absence. Once I return back to the country, then it goes back into a dormant status.